Oregon and Washington are going to the Big Ten. It is official. The Pac-12 did make a last-minute attempt this morning to sign the grant of rights, but to no avail. Unfortunately, George Kliavkov's lack of foresight probably have cost his conference its lifeline at this point, and the Pac-12 is in dire straits. And again, it's not like Oregon and Washington to the Big Ten is just this new bombshell that just came up on us. Like I was saying, it's been in the news that they've been linked to each other for a while now. They've been vetted by the Big Ten since last year after they added USC and UCLA. But those negotiations were paused since former Commissioner Kevin Warren left and he departed to be the president of the Chicago Bears. So even last month, Tony Petitti, the new commissioner of the Big Ten, he said that they were not going to pursue expansion any further after USC and UCLA. But of course, we all know that's what they say publicly. It doesn't necessarily mean that's what's going on behind the scenes. Well, behind the scenes, the Big Ten was always waiting for that opportunity to get sort of a discount, if you will, on Washington and Oregon and give them smaller media shares if the Pac-12 was to fall apart. And what has happened? Well, the Pac-12 has fallen apart. Colorado was the first domino to leave. And now the Big Ten sort of gets its own discount on Oregon and Washington. And the whole optics behind this was the Big Ten wanted to wait to see if the Big 12 could move first and grab Arizona, Arizona State, Utah, and sort of put the hunting knife into the neck of the deer of the Pac-12. So that way the Big Ten could just scoop up Oregon and Washington and not be the one that quote unquote had the Pac-12's blood on its hands. Does anybody really care about the optics behind this? The Big Ten had the Pac-12's blood on its hands when they first invited USC and UCLA to join. That was really the first mark of Pac-12 blood that was on the Big Ten's hands. So that's just kind of the way that the Big Ten wanted this whole situation to be presented publicly, but we all know what they were doing. So what does this mean for Oregon and Washington? What does it mean for the Big Ten? Well, the Big Ten had just announced a few months ago that they were going to institute this new Flex Protect Plus scheduling model for 2024 and 2025. But now they're going to have to go back to the drawing board because they have two more teams. Instead of 16, the Big Ten will now have 18 teams. And if you take a look here at this map, I saw this map on Twitter earlier today, or X, whatever you want to call it. This just is ridiculous. I mean, look at this. As a guy that is into geography like myself, I mean, this is just visually it's icky. I don't like it. But unfortunately, this is the new Big Ten, guys. This is what the new Big Ten is going to look like. I will say, if we just look at this from the Big Ten standpoint, I mean, it's going to be a pretty good conference, especially with Oregon and Washington. Now, it's going to be a very deep conference. I mean, think of the tiers of these schools here. It's going to have a very deep second tier of schools, in my opinion. I think the way that you would tier the new Big Ten is you obviously got tier 1 with Ohio State, Michigan, USC. Those are the teams that can year in and year out, if they are playing to their strength, can win the Big Ten Conference any year and compete for national championships. And then you have that next tier down of schools that could compete for Big Ten championships if they are playing at their strength and could potentially challenge for a national championship. I think of Penn State, Oregon, Washington, Wisconsin, Iowa, UCLA, Nebraska with potential upside. Nebraska, I think, could be back in this tier if they make correct coaching decisions. And then, you could even lump Michigan State into this bucket. But these are all schools that I just mentioned that either have won the Big Ten in the past, have been successful consistently in their former conferences like Oregon, Washington, UCLA, and they're schools that have reasonable chances to win the Big Ten if, they are operating at full strength in the near future. It's a pretty good second tier of schools there for the Big Ten. And then you even have that third tier of schools like the Minnesotas, Maryland, maybe Illinois, Purdue. I wouldn't say these schools have realistic chances to win the conference, but these are schools that, could probably challenge these schools up in the tier 2, and they have good seasons and they could win double-digit games every now and then if they put together really good teams. So it's definitely a good conference now. It's a lot deeper and it's going to be a lot tougher. I mean, obviously with these new super leagues, the new Power 2, it's going to be very tough, and there's going to be some great games week in and week out. And, now the Big Ten is no longer just a Rust Belt conference. It is a national conference. It stretches from the East Coast to the West Coast. It goes from the Northeast to the Pacific Northwest and even to Los Angeles. It is no longer a regional sport. It is no longer a regional conference. That is the new era of the Big Ten. That is the new era of college football. And if you're a Big Ten fan, especially if you're one of these schools at the top of the Big Ten, I think you're probably really excited about this. And I think that, your yearly schedules are going to look a lot tougher, but they're going to be a lot more fun for sure. A lot of great matchups. If you're one of the middle tier teams like in a Minnesota or a Maryland or an Illinois or a Purdue, yeah, it may seem fun, but your life definitely just got a lot harder. I'll tell you that. Your odds of winning a title in anything, pretty much in football, are going to go down even further than what they already were with these new additions. It's just your life gets a lot tougher, but man, those schedules are going to look really good. They're going to be really competitive. So it's a little give or take there, but at the end of the day, this is all about the fans.